Okay, so a new chapter of My Hero Academia came out like a few days ago, and I was actually gonna do a review on that chapter or maybe even a spoiler video or whatever, but it's a bit late now, so I decided why don't I do a video discussing that chapter but also giving my predictions for chapter 325 of the manga and kind of, give my theories and what I think will happen in the next chapter. But of course, before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel because I post a lot of My Hero Academia content. And if you like My Hero Academia content, then I suggest you subscribe to the channel. And of course, I cover other series like One Punch Man and Record of Ragnarok. So if you like those series, then double make sure you subscribe to the channel. But apart from that, let's just get into the damn video. Now, this chapter of My Hero Academia was actually pretty short, and there were two main things that happened in this chapter, or two major things that happened that are worth talking about, which are Ochako's speech and Deku's reaction. Now let's start off with Ochako's speech. Now obviously this probably is the biggest moment for Uraraka in the series, apart from her fight against Bakugo in the sports festival. But I feel like this this moment is arguably better than that moment in the sports festival, because this moment kind of solidified what Ochako's goal is. Because I don't know about you, but Ochako's goal before this was, it was pretty unclear, to be completely honest, because they didn't really go back to her goal. They just kind of said it once and they never really went back to it. But now we've it's kind of solidified that her goal is to protect the heroes and be that person that looks after the heroes. Now of course Ochako's moment is it was definitely needed, and I was expecting Ochako to get a moment sooner or later in the series, and I was actually expecting it to be a bit earlier, but I feel like this moment is pretty fitting for Ochako, especially when it's to do with Deku, because not only does it develop Ochako's character, but it also kind of supports this idea of Ochako and Deku being together, because I know a lot of people in the fandom really want Ochako and Deku to be a thing, and I'm pretty sure that is kind of where Horikoshi is heading towards. So for all the gay shippers, I don't really know what to say. You can keep gay shipping, but it's just kind of weird because Horikoshi has kind of hinted that Ochako and Deku are kind of going to be a thing. But moving on, that's not really important. What's really important is that Ochako finally got her moment, and I feel like Ochako definitely needed this moment, because for me personally, Ochako's character was kind of getting boring, especially since My Hero Academia is coming to an end, and I would say My Hero Academia has like maybe two years left until it's completed. And I felt like Ochako really did need a moment, sooner rather than later. And I feel like this was a pretty good moment for, for her to do her speech in front of all the UA students to convince them to, keep Deku at UA. Because in my opinion, I considered Ochako to be a pretty, like pretty much a main character. Well, she's technically a side character, but she's kind of like a, a Todoroki, a Bakugo. She is a pretty important side character, so I felt like she definitely needed this, and I'm pretty happy she did get her moment. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other people in the fandom are going to be pretty happy about this as well. But moving on to Deku's reaction. Now, as we all know, when Deku was, being a vigilante and he was kind of, taking on all the heroes by himself, he kind of turned into a darker version of himself. We kind of knew that he was, bottling up all of his emotions, and we know that now, Deku has finally kind of, I guess, let all this burden on his shoulders just go, because now that Deku has finally cried, that is an indication that, the burden that he was holding all by himself has been finally lifted. And in my opinion, I don't really know how to feel about this, because I definitely did like the darker version of Deku. I pretty much knew that this was going to happen. Like, I pretty much predicted that Deku was going to eventually get this burden off of his shoulders, but I low-key wanted him to continue, going the way he was going, because not only would it be a different, I guess, it would be a different tone to what My Hero Academia usually is, and in my opinion, it would 100% be a lot more interesting. because now that Deku has finally cried, it's, as I said before, it's an indication that all the burden that he's been holding on his shoulders has been lifted. And I feel like now we're kind of gonna go back to the older version of Deku. Don't get me wrong, Deku is still gonna have some I guess some traces of how he was before, but it definitely won't be as intense as it was. But personally, do I think Deku is going to be as cool as he was before? No. But do I mind? Not really. I mean, it doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really affect the story all that much. It's just kind of, a bit of a change from what My Hero Academia usually is. But let's go on to my theories or predictions for the next chapter of My Hero Academia. Now, in the next chapter, I'm pretty sure we can all guess that there's going to be some dialogue between 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧 and Deku. And I'm not too sure what this is going to be about, but it's most likely going to be something inspirational, or, maybe 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧, just kind of, trying to, I guess, kind of encourage Deku to, keep pushing on, because I guess when Deku saved 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧, of course, 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧 wasn't really keen on heroes, and Deku changed 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧's, I guess, view of heroes completely. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be kind of, 𝗡𝗘𝗫𝗧's turn to kind of do the same thing to Deku, kind of just, I guess kind of just encourage him to keep pushing forward, because right now Deku does kind of seem broken, because, after that speech from Ochako, I'm pretty sure Deku doesn't really know what to do right now. But apart from that, I feel like we could kind of shift our attention away from UA and kind of go back to, Stain, because I'm pretty interested to see what's happening between Stain and All Might, because we've seen a couple of chapters ago that Stain was actually shown and he was close to All Might. So I don't know, we could see some Stain and All Might dialogue, and we could see, some questions asked by Stain. We could see Stain just, I guess, completely change his view on heroes completely, just thanks to All Might. But I'm not too sure, how that's going to play out, but I would like to see that in the next chapter. Also, I do think we could kind of, get some information about All For One. A lot of things could happen in the next chapter, but what is most likely going to happen is we're going to stay at UA, and we're kind of, I guess, we're going to get Deku back into UA, obviously, and I'm guessing they're going to plan their next form of action against All For One. And I'm pretty sure this is definitely going to entail, the main characters or the main students at UA to go out and kind of do what Deku was doing, kind of be a vigilante and kind of scout the area in the city and kind of try to get clues on where All For One is. I'm pretty sure they're not going to, I guess, permanently stay at UA. There's definitely going to be a point where they're going to have to leave, whether it's by force or, by just, I guess, some plan. But I'm pretty sure that there's going to be, some form of leaving UA eventually, because staying at UA is just way too risky. Of course, UA has their defense systems, but I'm not too sure how sturdy that is, because there's been I guess, kind of a rumor going around that, Nezu is the traitor. So assuming Nezu is the traitor, then, these defense systems aren't going to protect them at all. It's just the setup. But I'm not too sure about Nezu being the traitor, but I mean, there is some evidence here and there that Nezu could be the traitor, but I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and just say, Nezu is 100% the traitor. But I mean, it's looking pretty likely that he is the traitor. I mean, it's kind of an odd way to introduce him as the traitor, but I mean, it does kind of make sense that he would be the traitor. I mean, I've seen many videos recently about Nezu being the traitor and all the hints that we haven't seen, all the hidden meanings and all that stuff. But again, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket and say Nezu is 100% the traitor. But apart from that, that's pretty much it for this video, to be honest. Tell me what you guys think about this chapter and what you think could happen in the next chapter of My Hero Academia. But of course, if you like the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And apart from that, I will see you in my next video.